Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write over at Cruising for All Cruising with Kids and Mini Travellers.
And today, Sarah, we're going to talk about, we've been cruising quite a lot lately, and we've got quite a lot of recent cruise news to share of our times on board, but you've recently come off, was it a 2-night sailing with MSC?
Yes, a 2-night on MSC Virtuosa out of Southampton.
Brilliant. So what we thought we'd do, because we have this conversation quite a lot on the podcast about like mini cruises and the pros and cons of them. I think putting it out there, I think it's fair to say that we're not big fans of mini cruises personally. And we thought it'd be good to kind of maybe talk about your time on MSC Virtuosa, which would probably highlight one of the reasons as to why maybe we're not biggest fans of mini cruises, but then maybe also talk about the reasons why they are actually out. They could be beneficial to you if you want to kind of get a bit of cruise experience. So kind of today's episode is a little bit about the pros and cons maybe of what you can expect if you were to take a mini cruise, whether it's from the UK, because we get quite a lot of them obviously going across the English Channel, but then also as well you get quite a lot of them sailing from Miami as well. So like Royal do 3-4 night sailings from both Miami and Port Canaveral. So we just kind of wanted to jump off maybe and chat about what it's like to take a mini cruise. But yeah, Sarah, do you want to share a little bit more than about how you found or what you thought of MSC? Put you on the spot straight away.
Right, so I'm never doing a 2-night cruise ever again.
Yeah.
I was quite excited to try MSC because I've never been on MSC before, and being such a big Royal fan, I think booking anyone else feels a risk. I mean, we cruise with us because I like the brand, I like what they stand for, I like how they manage people. I really like NCL. But as you know, Donna, who is my business partner on Cruising with Kids, she loves MSC.
Yeah.
If I could have got off that ship before it sailed, I would have done.
Really?
As soon as we got on, the ship is beautiful. The ship was stunning. But as soon as we got on, you could tell that people were on there for hen parties, they were on there for stag parties. The muster, everybody was bladdered at the muster.
That's my kind of muster.
There was people without shirts on, but I mean,
my God.
Don't even get me started on MSC's muster because they call everybody at the same time to go.
Yep.
And I mean, this is before the ship's even set off. They've called everyone. So I've got a TikTok video. The stairs are packed, but everyone's drunk, trying to get down to scan the muster. Like, I'm Royal. You go, you watch a video, you scan. I don't get why they don't do that. So it was just bottleneck. It was unbelievable. But it was only after we got off the ship, I said that we've got a little cruise track group. And I said to everyone in the group, if that ship had sunk the state people were in, it'd have been a nightmare. It's dangerous. Honestly, it was dangerous. I mean, we went to dinner at 7:00 one night, and there was a woman and her mum, and they fell into the toilets. And the woman was going, I'm looking after my mum. Couldn't talk. But just as a prime example, I mean, honestly, it was just, you know, when something's opened your eyes more than anything you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
So there's a really nice champagne bar, so you can get pink Moët in there. So we said, right, we'll go for a pink champagne. You could pay £2 extra for Verve Click. So having a nice glass of champagne with friends. But it was a production line. So you had people opening the bottle, people pouring the bottle, people taking the order, people giving the glasses. Have you ever seen that in a champagne bar? How much?
No.
I mean, it can't be economically viable. Verve Click, open for the company to offer the drinks package. So that was the first thing. You get given a dining time. So we got given 8:30. So I went to the restaurant and said to the guy, I don't want to eat 8:30. Can I change my time? We're in a different restaurant to all our friends. And he said, no.
Really?
I said, but I'm not happy with it. And he said, but you know, I'm on a break here. I've paid for this. It's not, I'm going to come and do what you tell me I've got to do because I was nice to him, polite.
Yeah.
And he said, got a problem, speak to a manager. And I went, can you get me a manager? He went, there is none.
Pretty much. And like, we're not going to turn this into a bash MSC because they have their pros and cons, but that's my takeaway with our time sailing with MSC as well. I feel like the ship's wonderful. They have so many amazing features, but it's the processes about certain things are just, as you say, carte blanche, no, tough. That's the way that it is. And it's just a little bit infuriating, like you say, when you know for a fact other cruise lines, you make requests and they go, okay, we can't maybe do it for you right now, but come back later, or come back to this, or maybe tomorrow we'll work our best to accommodate you. But I feel like MSC is very much the classic travel meme of computer says no. And I feel like
Well, the thing
that's how I
is,
felt.
it's not even MSC bashing because it's fact. It's what happened.
Yeah.
It's not my opinion. It's actually
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I came away from there and met Chris. All our friends dined in the restaurant, said it was awful. But we decided we weren't going to take that risk. You know, if we're here for 2 nights, so
Yep,
we paid
yeah.
for specialty dining for both nights. I went to the restaurant for breakfast on my own because Chris had gone on a trip. I was doing something different. And as I walked towards him, he put his hand out and said, it'll be 45 minutes.
No way.
So I went up to the buffet, couldn't get a knife and fork. So ended up really not having any breakfast. So we booked specialty dining for our lunch. And in the specialty dining restaurants, the staff were incredible. They were really lovely.
Yeah.
The food quality was amazing. We got wine. You know, they were serving us drinks, which all our friends said at dinner they really didn't even get wine. So I got talking to a member of staff and I said, do you really not like these cruises? And he said, they're just very stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, we don't get to know people. He said, it's very stressful. He said, people are very drunk. People aren't polite to us. So I get where a lot of the staff, in the public areas, the staff didn't smile, they didn't say hello. But I didn't think, oh, they're awful. I just thought they're under an extreme amount of pressure for the amount of people on the ship, and they all want to get drunk. So they're at the bar, and the bars are 10 deep sometimes. We didn't really struggle getting served. But yeah, I felt sorry for the staff. I really felt sorry for them. And even though they weren't really friendly towards us, I got why. And as I say, in those speciality dining areas, it was like being on a different ship. So I felt like that was a shame. I was stood at the champagne bar one night, waiting to order some champagne. And this lady come over and she wanted the spa. And so she said, nobody will help me. Nobody will tell me where it is. So I said, well, I'm getting a drink. So I said to the lady, before you serve me, can you tell me where the spa is for this lady? So she told her and I ordered my drink. And the lady said to me, my grandma recommended me to Chris. She was 30. She said, I'm never doing another one as long as I live.
Yeah.
Said, but this is not. And I think
not
this
a
is
good
why,
example.
Yeah, I can't think that would even be a good example of MSC.
No. And that's kind of the jumping off, but that's what we're kind of getting at here, isn't it, really? So we've done mini cruises with other brands as well, and it's not a good representation of what it's like to do cruising in general or with that brand. Either way you want to look at it, type of thing of, you know, I think you've done one as well. We've done the booze cruises, as we jokingly called them, the Seacations back during COVID when we could sail the English Channel. And we both done it, I think, with Princess, wasn't it? We both said. And
But the service was excellent on that. It was just loads of drunk British people, which if you was going out of Barcelona 2 nights, if you're going out of, I don't know, Fort Lauderdale, there'd have been loads of drunk Spanish people, loads of drunk American people. But but the point is, there's no mix of nationalities. It's not cosmopolitan. People go on there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get bladdered. The difference on Princess was there was more staff to deal with it. They were busy, but the staff didn't look so fatigued, I didn't think.
See, I had a different experience on Princess, and don't get me wrong, the crew were lovely, and I can't fault the crew, but they turned Ocean Now off, so the feature where like you can order from the app and it turns up, they turned it off on the sea day. Like, so the weather was lovely, we were all by the pool, we had a lovely time, but the app just couldn't keep up, so they turned that off. And it was things like, we went to, at the bar, by the pool, they were literally just pouring pints ad hoc. They weren't even like counting, they would just pint after pint after pint, put them on the counter because they were literally people, because of the Princess rule of you have to order one drink at a time. And you have to order for you personally, you can't order for friends, all that type of stuff. People were literally just stood by the bar, I'll have a pint, please. And then they would go in, great, I've got my pint, can I have another pint, please? It was just, as you say, a conveyor belt. The nightclub especially was hysterical, and I've never seen this on any cruise in my life, but they were literally, night one, they struggled, and we couldn't get a drink for love nor money. Night two, however, they were ready for it, and they had trestle tables set up with rum and coke, gin and tonic, vodka lime.
They had that at the pool bar.
Just
at the pool bar this week.
And they were just literally tapping your medallion and going, yep, take a drink. Yep, take a drink. So they adapted, as you say, the Princess crew, they were able to adapt to it. But I just thought, like, that's the level of, and I know Brits are known for like heavy drinking type of thing, so very much. And I definitely got my money's value of like the drinks package. But that was the level of drinking on our 3-night like staycation with Princess. It was chaos. So I was very glad to go back on again. Then literally the end of that month for a mini British Isles cruise. We did a 6-night British Isles cruise, and it was completely different. It was like a different product. It was much more relaxed. The service was really quick. The crew were a lot more relaxed because they weren't having to constantly, like say, be on it and deal with it and deal with drunk people and all that type of stuff. So, and even I think I've told this story before, but the hotel manager recognized me. And she said, like, oh my God, you were just on like 2 weeks ago on one of the mini cruises. It's like, oh yeah, well, I had like my bleach blonde hair back then. And she's like, I'm so glad you've had the chance to come back on and experience what a real Princess cruise is like, because that wasn't the best showcase of what Princess has to offer. So like even the crew themselves know that they're not necessarily showcasing the best of themselves on those cruises because they're very intensive. They're turning cabins around quickly. As you say, they don't get to know people the way that they like to get to know people. Meal service doesn't run the way that it normally does and have time to bed in with the pacing. They don't get a vibe of like, 'cause every sailing is different as well. So it depends on the split, the demographic, the age, the time of the year. The vibe on board will be different. So some sailings will be more drinkers, maybe just because it's maybe a summer holiday cruise, whereas you maybe do it in shoulder season where it's more kind of relaxing cruising. So people aren't necessarily drinking as fast. They're having maybe a wine or a champagne with a meal rather than necking it because it's sunny summer weather and they're by the pool. Like, so even the same ship, same itinerary 3 months later will have a different demographic. So the crew need a day or two to kind of get that feedback of, okay, it's this type of cruise now. We've got these types of people and they drink in this way. They don't get to do that on a 2-3 night sailing. They're literally on. And by the time they get bedded in, they're off onto the next one.
Well, our friends were gutted because they went on last summer and it was my friends, not gutted. I mean, we had a really, really good time and it was a real party atmosphere. And we just all jumped in and said, this is what it is. Let's just embrace it. So I weren't sat in a corner miserable.
Put your bottle of sweet glass of champagne.
Do you know what? We tipped, so we were all right. We got served. And because British don't, I mean, not many British tip. I mean, when I like gave the bloke £15 after our dinner and he was like gobsmacked because they just don't, do they? So in the bars they weren't serving us and we were all right. But yeah, our friends said we came on last year and this was not like this. It wasn't like this ship. I mean, stuff like when you go to the buffet restaurant, I mean, the buffet restaurant was holy hell. It was, I've never seen anything like it. People like queues like going on forever to get a bacon sandwich and I just had fruit. There was no washy-washy. There was a girl stood there with the stuff. She was like that.
Is it the spray one where they shoot you from afar with it? Like,
well, I videoed it because I thought surely she's going to challenge them, and they weren't. So there's all the washing stations. They didn't have soap in them.
No.
So there was no priority. And I suppose because 2 night on and off, you're not going to get a breakout of norovirus. But because Royal Caribbean, the bloke sings to you. I'm not going to do it because I can't sing.
I know the washy. Don't you wish your washy?
Yeah, honestly. And he comes out and he's like, washing. And everybody has to sing with him as you're washing your hands. But I don't know, it's like a bit cheesy, but everybody washes their hands. And I watched her and she was like this with the spray.
Yeah.
And she didn't challenge. And I mean, when you're used to cruising, that was a bit of a shock because, I mean, in a lot of the toilets, there was no soap in the soap dispensers. And but then it's a quick turnaround and they run off their feet serving drinks. So what else do they do? But I think my point to this is I possibly wouldn't book an MSC cruise. I said to Chris last night, well, we'd book it and try it again. And he said, no, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. And I said, what if it was in Yacht Club? And he said, no, because he said, and I think for him it was the staff thing. And I mean, the speciality dining, they were amazing. But I think for him it was the indifference. And he said it's called a taster cruise. So whatever they're selling it as, that's the taster and it's a showcase of the brand.
Absolutely.
And it's become a stag party and hen party at
Pretty
sea.
much, yeah. It's a bit of a tricky one because that sailing is a 2-nighter, and I think that is the shortest. Like, I know there's some overnighters, but that's the shortest you can do. So it's even more aggressive than usual. Typically, the majority of the brands sailing from Southampton, I'm talking now, will do 3 at a minimum. 4 is now the new short cruise. And I know like Princess, after that staycation season, have pretty much removed the majority of their mini cruises just because they blatantly kind of said, that's not the crowd we want. We don't want that booze cruise crowd. We want, the more destination focused enrichment crowd. That's the Princess crowd type of thing. MSC on the opposite side of it, they're very much targeting kind of that new to cruise, people who maybe wouldn't consider a cruise. They're very keen to get that people because they're hoping that people will fall in love, get hooked, and fall in love with the MSC product. And it's definitely a business choice to go after. So they have a considerable number. I think it's like 6 or 7 of these like weekenders, 2-3 night cruises throughout the whole season. And they're incredibly popular, but they blatantly advertise them as party cruises. They won't say booze cruise because obviously they can't, but they blatantly say party cruise. So the kind of messaging is there from the off, like, oh, we get collateral from them with like the prices and all that type of stuff. And they blatantly say party cruise, MSC Virtuosa, 2-night, come on board, have a party, dance all night, drinks package included. It's very, very transparent type of crowd that they currently are going after. There's rumblings that they may be possibly moving away from that because of some of this negative connotation whereby people are going on and being put off, not just MSC, but cruise in general, because they think it's nothing but people getting drunk for 24 hours, which some cruises are, but not all cruises, and the majority of cruise isn't like that.
I mean, you know that I can drink, and I was shocked. And I was shocked. And like I say, it's not just MSC. And I mean, obviously, that's been our experience, which will affect, you know, maybe we'll do, what's the other one, their new company.
Oh, Explorer Journeys.
I think maybe that would, because that appeals. But Donna, because I was texting you and I was texting Donna saying, I mean, literally before it set off, I said, because we could get off now. Chris was like, we're here for Sue's 60th, so no, we can't. But you know what? We had an amazing time, and we went with lovely, lovely people, and we had a good time. But I literally had a bit of a panic attack when I got on and saw, it was all like everyone was purple minions. But then Donna made a really valid point when I messaged her, and she said, I've been on a Royal 2-night and it was equally as bad.
Exactly. And I was just about to say as well, I've had this with Virgin. We all know I am, obsessed with Virgin. I think they're amazing. But I've done the 3-nighter in the UK, a 3-nighter from the UK go into Zeebrugge for the day. And I've also done the 4-nighters from Miami as well. And we've talked about this as well. So when people as well, some of the cruise influencers who maybe went on in the first season where she was doing just the ex-UK, that ship is designed for beautiful sunny weather, and we didn't really have much of that season type of thing. So you're going on this ship, which is not going anywhere, really exciting, and it's wet, it's cold, and all there is to do is eat and drink type of thing. So it was very much lovely. You got to try the food and everything, but you're not getting a real authentic Virgin cruise experience because that ship is going to Zeebrugge, which is lovely. I'm not knocking. It's a lovely destination. Everyone should go there to try it. It's incredible. But it's not as if it's exciting as going into Ibiza and turning into Ibiza for sunset type of thing. It's not that romantic Mediterranean. You're not going to exciting Caribbean ports like, where do they go? Bimini, for example, their beach club. You're not going to these amazing bucket list, beautiful sunny cruise destinations. So 50% of the product, which is enjoying the ship in nice weather, isn't there. So you're not getting a full representation on that mini 3-4 night cruise of what the heart of the product is. And I think a lot of these cruises, they're great for going on and trying Virgin and experiencing the food and seeing the entertainment and the shows, but you're not getting the full Virgin Voyages experience. You're getting a bite-sized snippet of it. And I think that's what we're kind of saying here as well. These cruises are great with it. I had a lovely time on my MSC cruise. All the issues I had are still valid, and you've mentioned a lot of them, but I done a 7-night sailing. We went down the Bay of Biscay circle, and I had a really nice time on board. Because it was a lot more relaxed, a bit slower. The crew got to know us. It wasn't as busy. It's a very different experience doing a 2-nighter for a 7-night. Would I go back on? Probably not. But that's a personal choice because there are other cruise lines I prefer. But I have no issues recommending to customers without pointing out there's just a few issues to be aware of.
Yeah, I feel sad that was my first experience. And obviously, it does cloud your judgment for making decisions 100%. In the future when you've got a brand that you know. But I don't think I just wouldn't do a 2-nighter again. Nope. I mean, the Mexico cruise that we've just done, that was 5-nighter, and I was a bit concerned about that. And that was brilliant because I think five's your cut-off from it being a party cruise, and it wasn't a party cruise at all. But again, it's just people having a good time. But there's a difference between having a good time and going to get absolutely bladdered. There's a difference. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, but I mean, all of our friends said exactly the same. And I mean, our friends who arranged it all, and they kept. So one of our friends with us said, "I'm not doing a cruise again. I'm never doing a cruise again."
Yeah, and it'll put you off, won't it?
Yeah, and she actually said to her mum and dad, because she's an adult, and she told mum and dad, "I can't believe you spend so much on cruising when this is it." And her mum was saying, "This isn't it." And our
This
friends
is
that
a
have been
sea
on
day. This is
before,
one day of a
yeah,
7-night cruise.
and our friend that went last year that we booked it all, and she said, honestly, she said it was nothing like this last year. So I
Yeah.
think it's just, and again, you know that I won't sail out of Southampton anyway. I prefer
No,
to go out
no,
of
no, no. Yeah,
Barcelona
yeah,
or Caribbean for that mix of. I mean, as soon as I got on and saw the Union Jack, I thought I sent it to you, didn't I? I said this is a good
yeah.
start. Here we go. You and I'm proud to be British, but
Yeah,
that's a sign that it's going to just get messy. But no, I mean, this on the positives, the cabin was lovely. We booked an
yeah,
obstructed cabin, and it wasn't obstructed. It was, one of the end ones with the metal around the edges.
yeah.
That was
Oh, is it
cabin,
like a navigator one? So it's got the metal surrounding, and
yeah.
so you're
So
enclosed a little bit.
cabin 10030, and the cabin was beautiful. It was really nice. Bed was a bit hard, but other than that, it was absolutely gorgeous. The
Yeah,
brilliant bathroom and the speciality dining. So we dined in a steak restaurant. The steak, the fillet was super thick and cooked perfectly, melted in your mouth. The guys in there were amazing. Then we had the Vietnamese, and they were brilliant with gluten free.
oh,
With
were
me,
they? So that was
yeah, they
interesting. So
were.
that was my warning to you, wasn't it? So we did it, and as you say, yeah, we did the forward speciality, and Indochine was the one we had the biggest gluten-free problem. I loved my meal; I thought it was incredible, but the gluten-free there was only one option. So has that now improved?
Um, there isn't much, but because I can eat soy sauce, because I'm not celiac, am I? I just have
Right.
an intolerance, so I can eat soy, which makes it a lot easier. I'm sort of getting to know what I can and can't eat.
Yeah.
So I say I'm intolerant, really. I'm not celiac. So it was really good. Went through the menu. The chef came out brilliant and said this. I mean, there was only one dessert I could have, but that, and then we did the Mexican. And oh my, is it Mexican?
Yeah, it's
The taco place,
Hola
Pola.
Taco.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was, and that's all you can eat for £19.
Did they have wheat? Did they have corn tacos though when you went? Because that was another thing we
Yes,
found they didn't. They did
yeah, they
they?
did.
Because Phil,
Yeah,
it's not a holiday unless Phil has a gluten-free meltdown at some point during the holiday, and I do feel for him. It is frustrating, but that was his breaking point on the cruise when we went to Hola Taco, and they didn't have at the time we went anyway corn tacos.
yeah,
So we went to a Mexico all you can eat, and there was very little that he could eat in there. So that was his tipping point, and then from that point on, he was pretty much disengaged then because everything was a problem. But yeah, we struggled a little bit. But like I say, I'm pretty sure it was the year after COVID. So they were still kind of in that post-COVID recovery bubble. Maybe even it was 2021. I'll check my pictures. I think it's been a while now. So I kind of want to go back on to see if some of those little niggly things were kind of a bit of a post-COVID thing. I can't tell. 2022 we did, sorry. So it's been
right.
2 years now. And that's why I'm just intrigued to see, because I've heard from other people and customers I've asked questions to, they've said like little things like that are a little bit better. It's still very much MSC and it is what it is, but they've said things like that have improved, whereby there are now a lot more options and it's a bit easier to navigate the gluten-free side of things, at least anyway.
The only thing I'd say is that so it's £49 for the steak restaurant,
Mm.
and it's not an experience. It's a fine dining It's a nice restaurant, nice
Yeah.
food. So it's more expensive than specialty dining on Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, but that is more of an experience. So on their experience, you get 3 courses. Where with Royal, you go into a food coma in the steak restaurant because there's so much.
They share with a bed afterwards.
Yeah. Honestly, I did have to lay down. I was just left there. I was saying to Chris, I could have had more, but I can't move. So that was the difference. It was more expensive, but I can't fault it because it was amazing. The thing, I mean, again, this must be because it happened to me on Princess. Do you remember we were going to buy Chris's watch and they blanked us in the shop?
Yes.
Anyway, so I've seen the sunglasses of dreams. They're Tiffany, big square ones, and they've got like a little thing there, like a metal thing. They're just absolutely stunning. And I saw them at Heathrow, but I was buying Joe a pair of Ray-Bans. So you don't think, can I spend all this money on sunglasses?
Yeah.
Chris convinced me I couldn't, and I was well mad after because I should have got them. I loved them. So I thought, I'm going to get them on the ship. I'm going to buy myself new sunglasses on the ship. And I went into the sunglasses shop. I must look like I can't afford, right? There was no one in the shop. There was 2 members of staff. I wandered around for ages and they didn't even look at me. I left. I was going to spend on some, £200-300 on a
Probably
pair of
comes back to
sunglasses.
this whole the type of crowd on board. They were like, nobody's buying diamonds or anything on this ship. Like they're looking for the bar. They probably thought you were lost looking for the bar.
Yeah, it's champagne bar. And they blanked me. Oh, well, it was early night. I'd had loads of drink. Well, I mean, I didn't stagger once on the whole cruise, but oh my God. And I was well mad. My friends were really laughing because all week, like, on the way down, I was like, I want to buy my sunglasses. I want to get them. The sunglasses of dreams. And yeah, they just blanked me. So I went to the other shop and said, have you got any sunglasses? He said, no, the other shop. I said, well, I'm not going in there because they're really rude. And he said, I'm so sorry. I'll come back with you if you want. And I said, no, I'm not going in there. And he was lovely. But yeah, it must be me because it happened on Princess.
Yeah.
I must look like I'm not going to spend my...
I avoid them because honestly, I'll end up like I can't afford anything in there, but I get the opposite. Like I'll have everything, the history of the product, where it's from, why it's such a great deal. And with me, I'm literally just taking a picture of the shop, like leave me alone. I just
and I go
have
to buy, and they're all like,
thing.
unless I am actually invisible. I don't realise. I don't know. But yeah, no one wants to sell me stuff.
Oh, I wish I could be sold to a little bit less because I'm not gullible. Phil says like I'm a retailer's dream because I could be sold pretty much anything. I could be convinced into purchasing anything. But jewelry, watches, sunglasses, they never appeal to me. I buy £10 sunglasses because I lose them by the time I've left the shop. Like so, like I will not spend on luxury wearables, at least anyway.
I love sunglasses. I've got a real sunglass thing. My last Tiffany pair. Well, that's my Tiffany pair broke, and then I've got a pair that got stolen out of my car. So I'm down to 2 pairs of sunglasses, which I just like a bit of a choice. But that's just a personal thing. We've all got our thing that we like to treat ourselves with, haven't we? Anyway, it wasn't meant to be on this cruise, and I'm going to get them on Royal Caribbean in October.
I see. I have plenty of time with that one as well to wear them. But like this comes back to my thing though as well about because obviously Disney have announced or launched the Wish, and they've got the treasure sailing as well. And I can't buy into, as much as I want to go on the Wish to experience it, I can't buy into it because it is 3 and 4 night sailings. And I just think I won't enjoy it because it's only going to be a sample of what a Disney cruise is. Like you will get to dining all 3 trees and you will get to do kind of all the shows and the entertainments and all that type of stuff. But for me, like by the time I'm settled in and unpacked and relaxing, it's like, okay, can you get off now? We're going to let the next lot in. So that's where I've been waiting for the treasure.
I think that would be different because I know one of my cousins has booked it with their children. I think that's a market that they're not cheap, are they? I mean, we've said this before. We've got 8,000 people in a family travel group, all with young kids, and it rarely gets mentioned. But I think it's the price. And people spend on Royal Caribbean, but it's that and above, isn't it? And Royal Caribbean's not cheap. But my cousin's going with his wife and their children, and I think you'll get lots of families on that. I don't think it's going to be like a booze cruise.
It's not a booze cruise situation. It's more a case of like that mini cruise. Obviously, what they're doing with the magic. I've sold some and I got customers really exciting, but I can't get past the whole thing of like, for me, it's not long enough.
Yeah,
maybe it's just I'm a 7-night cruise type of person. Even 7 nights isn't really enough for me at the moment, but because of childcare issues, that's the most we can go away at the moment. But like that's my issue. Like I would love to get on board the Disney Wish, but I just can't justify that time commitment of just 3-4 nights. Because we were thinking about it now, we're looking at planning a trip to Orlando next year, and I'm like, well, look, I'd like to get a cruise in. What should we do? Should we do Virgin, one of the 3 4s? The 4s or the 5s, or should we do like maybe what's the one we talked about it? Not Wonder of the Seas, Utopia of the Seas. Sorry, so Utopia's doing equally. She's doing 4s and 5s. Maybe we do one of those mini cruises, and I'm like, I don't really want to spend all that money and that time to get to the ship to have a couple of days on it just to get off. I kind of like having days to enjoy it and relax and unwind on it type of thing. So I've just become one of those people that I'm not a big fan of doing 3 or 4 night cruises anymore. I do them because it's a great chance to get on and try something new. But I don't know, the more cruises I'm doing, the more I'm less inclined to do those mini cruises because, as you say, the vibe and the atmosphere on board is so different from what it's actually like on a normal sailing. But the trend is, and so many more cruise lines, especially from America at least anyway, are adding more and more type of thing of these mini cruises. Royal, for example, they're building their entire business model on having, Oasis class ships doing mini cruises, 3s and 4s type of thing. It's crazy that you've got a ship that big turning around that many people that frequently in a week. It's crazy.
I think it's going to be just a different market, isn't it? And we're all going to decide which market we fit into. But interestingly, because our friends that we cruised on Mariner with had never been on a cruise before, that was a 5-night cruise. And I think you can more or less write off the first day of a cruise. It's just chaos. It's not, I don't think it's particularly enjoyable. You get on, it's chaos. You have a drink, you're excited, then you're on, and it's pandemonium. And then don't go to the buffet the next morning because that's equally pandemonium. After that, everything settles down and everybody gets their groove. And she said to me, and on the first day, they looked like rabbit in headlights the first night. And they were like, oh, we're just not sure. It's all so overwhelming. And then on day 4, she said, this isn't long enough. We want to do a cruise again, but we wouldn't do a 5-night. We want to do 7. So they loved it, but you just need longer. It's just, if you're having a good time, 5 is never enough anyway.
I think though as well, a little part of it is, and this is probably like you say, probably doing a 4-5 with Disney on the Wish probably wouldn't be as bad because, as you say, it is the family crowd. It's a very different demographic. Same with Royal. Royal's a multi-gen product as well. So even if it is circa 6,000 people maximum, they're not going to be the type of people who are going on just only to get absolutely drunk for a couple of days. I'm sure maybe the brands, and again, it'd be great to get somebody who does a lot of Carnival cruises to kind of chat about them a bit more, but I'm sure the Carnival short cruises are probably a bit more party because that's the reputation they have, is that they are very much party cruises. So I'm sure America has the equivalent like we do. And again, if our listeners know this for a fact, please do share with us because obviously we're talking purely from a Southampton experience. But if anybody wants to share kind of, a Carnival 3-nighter is equally Carnival Carnage, it'd be good to know and listen to kind of hear if you get it over that coast as well.
Well, do you know what would be good, actually, if we have a listener that's been on Carnival, to contact us and come on? Because it's another perspective, the short and the long, actually, because because we've not cruised on Carnival, it's not something you can really talk about very much, is it? But
no.
But yeah, it's a real interesting debate because some people might love that. Now, I know somebody that had gone on MSC on that short cruise 2 weeks before, and I messaged her and said, is it all right? I'm a bit nervous. And she'd never been on a cruise. And she said, she said, I enjoyed it, had a good time, but the staff were under a lot of pressure. I won't do that ship again. So that is the impression the first time cruisers are getting. But I don't know if you've seen in all the Facebook groups that MSC apparently, according to all the people ranting and screaming in the groups, have reduced the drinks package.
I haven't seen it officially.
I don't really know. I don't know whether they've made less drinks available, maybe. I don't really understand it because at first one woman was saying they've got rid of the drinks packages, but then when I looked at it, they hadn't. But then there was a drinks menu at the bar, and I kid you not, it was like the size of a tiny envelope with about 10 cocktails on. And you know what? I'm as blind as a bat. So I was trying to zoom in on my phone to see them, and my friend's son was with me, who has got good eyes, and he couldn't read it. So whether they're just trying not to encourage.
I've heard this is gossip now, but I have heard that MSC are trying to reduce or distance themselves a little bit from that kind of party cruise, booze cruise thing. So it could be a case of, yes, they could. And it's also as well a revenue thing, but the drinks packaging. So for American listeners, the packages in the UK worked a little bit differently. Gratuities are automatically included in the UK if you book a UK cruise with MSC or a cruise in the UK, via MSC Cruises UK. Drinks packages as well, we get really good kind of included rates. So we normally get like a 20-30% discount on the drinks package. And depending on the promo is which drinks package is included. But pretty much for the last 12 months, it's been the premium drinks package. When I booked mine back in 2022, it was not the basic one, or maybe it was, and I upgraded. I can't remember, but it was the basic one. I think it was Easy or Easy Plus. I think I had maybe. I think I had the middle one. So they've changed that. So what they could be doing is they could just be downscaling the drinks package back down to a lower one, which on the menu, it is incredibly limited. If you're somebody who likes a mojito or you like a rum and coke, you're going to get non-named brands in that package. So you're going to have, it's kind of like going to a resort in mainland Spain or somewhere whereby you're getting the house rum. And if you're not bothered what your rum tastes like, then the easy package will generally have the house cocktails, the house spirits type of thing. And you'll get a mojito, you'll get a pina colada, but they're going to be house. The Easy Plus tends to be a little bit better and you get a few more. And then you get the premium package, which you had then, which pretty much includes most things, apart from, like you say, sometimes you may have to pay towards like champagne and things like that.
Well, the only place we saw a menu was in the speciality dining restaurants. Even in the restaurants, So my friend said, the woman come up to her, she said she was quite standoffish. She went, well, what do you want for dinner? And my friend said, well, I haven't seen the menu. And she went, get it on your app and walked away. So I was like, oh, so
No.
yeah, we did the right thing paying for dinner. So I just think it's just not what you're going to get if you book a long cruise.
No, totally not. No. Like you said, they've got a bit more time to slow down, haven't they? And kind of, bed in and get to know you a little bit better and offer you a fuller experience. And I feel like this as well. Like the thing is, though, we should just briefly say as well, though, they can be great as well. Like I know, for example, I got loads of customers this year booked to do Virgin Voyages with me. They're doing the 3, 4, 5 night sailings from Southampton, going off to 2 places. And I know from memory, when customers of mine came and done those mini cruises from 2022, they fell in love with Virgin Voyages because it was a great, easy way to put your foot in and try it, get a feel for whether you like the way that cruise line works, then jump off and maybe go, cool, I had a great, like your friend as well, love this, but I want to do it properly. I want to go on a longer sailing. I want to go into a port intensive. So don't take this as they're all awful. They're just very different. I think that's what we were trying to get across with this. They can be great as well. So don't be afraid to try a short cruise, but just go in with expectations managed. I know Gary Bembridge has done a video on this a very long time ago as well, equally saying he doesn't recommend you take a mini cruise or a sample cruise because you're not experiencing what the cruise line is about. You're getting a feeling for what it may be like, but it's not a true representation. They are almost their own category of cruises. So go in with your eyes open and know for a fact you're getting a very short sample of what that line, that cruise, that ship could feel like. But going even from Southampton, doing a 7-night sailing to like the northern kind of Bay of Biscay route will be very different than just 2 nights out in the English Channel and back. You'll get a very different crowd, even on the same ship like MSC.
I'll tell you what I have to say, it's the best pool I've seen on any cruise ship ever.
It's huge, isn't it? Huge.
I mean, on a proper cruise, real cruise, not a 2-nighter, I can imagine that I'd really enjoy the ship, really enjoy the space. I love the champagne bar, the pub one. They'd probably do quizzes and stuff. So I'm imagining, I really think I would enjoy the ship, not on that cruise. But I think just because if once you've had that experience, it sort of changes you. My thing I'm so glad of is that we just thought we're not risking the restaurant because of the chaos. And did the specialty dining, and they're small intimate restaurants, and I'd recommend anybody on any sailing do those specialty restaurants because they were excellent.
Same. And they've got a really great package of, if you're on a longer voyage, you can normally book them. They call them like the trio or the quad dining package, which is what me and Phil did.
We should have done that.
I don't know if they offer it on the short. I didn't check.
No, they did, but I didn't. And I bet we'd have paid half the price for the second one if we'd have done that.
But the only downside to it is a prefix menu, so the menu is a bit more limited. But we paid, and again, this was back in 2022, but we paid around about £120 for the 2 of us, and we got the quad with the carousel as well. So we got to go see the carousel performance, which is incredible. It is a really, really good show, but that includes a cocktail as well. So we got to do all 4 of the dining, specialty dining, and we got a cocktail to go watch the kind of almost Cirque du Soleil version of their production show at the back of the ship. Incredible value for money type of thing. And I was so glad we did that because it reduced the amount of time we had in the main dining room. And I won't repeat what I call the main dining room, but the main dining room is probably one of the worst main dining rooms I've ever had on any ship, by quite a factor as well. I was really unhappy with main dining on board MSC, and quite luckily the buffet was open quite late. And the buffet's not my favorite buffet, but there was a lot to eat in the buffet that I did end up eating. But it is what it is. I'd say it is very much a preference thing. I'm a bit of a foodie. Bit of a foodie snob, and in my opinion, the food's just not quite up to the standards of the food that I would like on holiday. And
like I say, I think Donna was a bit offended because I was really ranting at her because she loves it. And Donna's got high standards. She is super fussy, as our friends that went last year, and they all really, really enjoyed it.
It is a bit of a virtuosa thing in the case of she's sailing from Southampton, very different demographic. Obviously, Donna does like to do the older, smaller ships as well. So there's a bit more kind of personal service on board type of thing, and she's normally sailing as well the Mediterranean out of kind of the Med Seas and stuff as well. So again, one thing I will champion a lot about MSC is sailing MSC from Southampton is going to be vastly different than sailing MSC from the Caribbean and sailing it from the Med. They're almost like as if they're 3 separate markets, and you kind of need to approach MSC with that mentality. Everyone I've sent on World Europa is coming back raving about the ship, saying it's incredible.
We know people that have been on that. They booked for you, and they absolutely loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm hearing, and people are saying it's like as if it's a different product. It's not like the MSC they know from the UK.
Yeah.
It's like sailing a whole different type of ship. So I'm aware of that, but I'm very aware that MSC position themselves as a very good price, very good value price cruise, both in the Caribbean, but also here as well, from the UK. Really great prices with great drinks packages. And if you are on a budget or you just want to kind of get away and not spend a fortune, and as much as we love Royal are more expensive. They are more premium. So there's a reason why they are, but not everybody could afford to stretch to a Royal budget, and you can still have a
Yeah.
lovely time with MSC. You just have to go in with your expectations managed of. It is, in my
Well,
opinion, I call them a value cruise line.
just don't do the 2-nighter. I mean, we probably wouldn't have spent much more actually on a long night. By the time all the extra we've spent, we probably wouldn't have spent much more on a week's cruise, and probably it'd have been a lot more chilled. And I wish I'd have done that, because that would have been my experience then, and not the one I've got. Which, as I say, I had an amazing time. We went with really good friends and had such a laugh, and and just embraced it. But my point is, it weren't like a cruise.
No. And I think that's the thing, and shore cruises they're not true representations. That's the key takeaway here. Definitely go in with your eyes open and expectations managed if you are thinking of taking a short cruise anytime soon. But they can be a great way to get away for a quick weekend away, or see some new ports maybe a bit closer to home, and just get a bit of a feel for a new ship or cruise in general. They can be great. You just have to be aware that, they're not the true representation of a cruise. So guys, I hope you found that useful. Like I say, we're not trying to be negative about it. And, mini cruises, they do have their place in the industry. No, we're not though, are we? We're not. Like, I know we have been. I think it's more being honest. I think there's a difference though. And we say this all the time in there. There's a difference between being negative and being honest. We come from cruise experience type of thing. So we've done it to be able to kind of share that with you guys. There are perks, definitely. So, keep that in mind. But if you are tempted to try a mini cruise after that glowing review, I would love to help you do that. And like I say, I can just make sure what you're getting into if you do want to take a mini cruise. So I would love to help you if you are interested. You could find me online anywhere under magical-traveler.com, or you could find me on all my socials under magical TRVLR. And then equally for you, Sarah, as well, if the guys want to find any of your content, what have you got and where can they find it?
Right. Well, before I do say that, I just want to say to the MSC staff that they did their best under difficult circumstances. And, the one thing I don't want to do is bash the staff, because they work so hard, and I really appreciate them. But yeah, you can find us at cruisingwithkids.co.uk and shop.cruisingwithkids now, because we've got our magnet store available and open for free printables and mini travelers.
On that, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please do, if you have, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And equally, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're watching the video version, please do give us a subscribe, a follow, and a thumbs up, just because that lets those platforms know you've enjoyed this, and they will happily recommend it to more people. Other than that, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.